Welcome to episode number 3 of Take the Trip with Us, where you hear from travel professionals who've experienced destinations firsthand. Listen to their stories and experiences, along with recommendations for your own vacation. So today I have Sara Toerner with me, and we are going to hear about her recent trip to Universal Studios Orlando. So I'm excited to talk to you, Sara.
I'm excited
So
too.
you visited Universal around mid-September, is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. And who traveled with you?
My husband, who is an adult child, and my two kiddos, Audrey is 10 and Caleb is 5.
Okay. And have they
Yeah.
been before to Universal?
I'm not sure that Caleb has been before. I know Audrey has been at least once before, um, but we've been wanting to get to Universal a number of times, not just once.
Right.
So I think this is just the beginning of many visits.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear all about it today. So did you
Yeah.
stay at one of the Universal resorts?
Yeah. Here's my thing with theme parks in general. I like to be in that bubble of the action and the entertainment because my whole theory is that with theme parks, that you've got the fun that's in the parks, but then it sort of extends into the hotel as well. And so we stayed this time at Cabana Bay. We've stayed at a couple different properties. My husband has as well. But we love Cabana Bay because it is, first of all, it has this charming like 50s or 60s beach vibe to it.
Yes, I
But
love that.
I love it so much. But secondly, I love that before their new Volcano Bay water park came around for Universal, Cabana Bay was kind of like the fun water park ish hotel to stay in because they have that great little lazy river, which I'm a sucker for. Um, but also, it just screams like I always think Annette Funicello from whatever era that was, like 30s or 40s, like Back to the Beach, that sort of vibe. They have classic cars parked out front. It's super duper cute. Um, so yeah, Cabana Bay. They
And
have
they have a little suites and they have like regular rooms. So what was your
yeah,
room like?
they have family suites. We've done those before. And then they have the standard rooms. So this time we had a standard room, but we went with another couple, and so we had connecting rooms. So it was like one
Oh,
big room, which was cool.
oh.
But yeah, the family suites have, of course, that retro decor, like mid-century type, and then they have microwaves and refrigerators and mini fridges. Anyways, super
And then
cute.
I think Cabana Bay, it's close enough for you. You could walk if you really wanted to get into the park. Now, Volcano Bay, though, Universal's third park, it's like right out the back of Cabana Bay, right?
I did not realize when we stayed there that it was going to be so convenient because we actually parked our car in the parking lot of Cabana Bay, and then when we went on the third day to Volcano Bay, we didn't move our car at all. In fact, there was a direct entrance right into Volcano Bay, so yeah, it was super convenient.
Yeah,
They,
that's really
they
nice. And then
essentially
getting
share our
back
parking
and
lot.
forth to the other two parks, did you
Uh
take
huh.
a bus?
Yep, we did. So we didn't move our car at all the entire time we were there, because when we went to and from City Walk and Islands of Adventure and Universal Park, we just took the bus. It was, my gosh, I don't think we waited more than 5 minutes for a bus at any point. So it's great.
Yeah, that's good. So you
Yeah.
visited all three parks, the two theme parks in Volcano Bay.
Oh yeah, yep, we sure did. I'm that kind of traveler. I want to pack it all in. I want to see it all and show my kids everything.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, so we did it all.
So did you take advantage of that early park entry? Because I know when you stay at one of the resorts
Yeah,
there, you get that early park entry into Harry Potter
yeah.
World. What was that like?
So I didn't realize at the time that Volcano Bay also has early park entry. You get in a half an hour early for staying at one of the Universal resorts. So we went at 9:30 instead of 10 o'clock, which was the opening time for that day, into Volcano Bay, which was great because we got first dibs on chairs. Um, and then for Universal Park and for Islands of Adventure, it was Islands that was open an hour before anyone else could get in, just for resort guests. So we got there at, I think it was 8 o'clock because the park opened at 9, and we just hauled our little booties over to the Harry Potter sections and got some great photos. And um, that there's a new hippogriff ride, so my daughter was psyched to ride that one.
And
And
what about Hagrid's? So if you get there early in the morning, because Hagrid's like the big ride now for everybody to ride. Did you get to ride it?
Okay, so I was saying Hippogriff. I meant Hagrid's.
Oh,
The
okay, got
motorbike
it.
adventure. Yes, that's what I meant was a motorbike adventure. I did not personally ride, but my aunt
What?
who's
Oh,
10, yeah, well, because we had a little guy who's 5, and
sure.
so he's like, "Mommy, I want to look at the wands," and "Mommy, what's this big castle all about that I hear?" And when are we going to go see that big castle and all this stuff?
Oh,
So Audrey did the motorbike adventure,
okay.
my husband, which was super cool.
Okay. Oh, that's neat. So, yeah, because he's probably short enough he doesn't get to do some of those other rides, but there's plenty of stuff to look at. Did he walk through the castle at all into Hogwarts or no?
Yes, he did. And I love this about Universal because oftentimes their child swap um, spot is right as you're boarding onto a ride. So like Caleb, who's 5, he can't ride everything, right? Some of the larger thrill rides. There's tons for him to do otherwise, as far as rides go. But when it comes to the bigger thrill rides, then he's not tall enough to ride. And he also may be a little afraid of some of them because they're so realistic. But I love that with the castle, especially Hogwarts Castle, he can meander through the entire castle and see all of those really cool details. And then we don't part from the rest of the group until they're getting right onto the ride. So that was super cool.
That's really neat. And then if you don't want to ride the big ride, you don't have to because you've got an excuse, right? You can
I
stay.
mean, I'm not going to say that I get motion sickness, but okay, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So did any of you have a favorite ride? Like, was there one that you just had to do over and over? Because I know when my kids were young, they loved Spider-Man. So we had to do that Spider-Man ride over and over and over there in Islands of Adventure.
Yes. So Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure is in that whole superhero island section, which is really what got me so stoked to take Caleb there. At 5, he is just obsessed with Spider-Man, and so the whole weeks leading up to our visit, I was saying, Caleb, we're going to go to the Spider-Man ride. We're going to go see where Spider-Man lives because the Spider-Man ride, as you're walking through that queue, waiting for your turn to get on the ride, you're not just standing there staring at everyone around you. No, you're walking through the halls of the Daily Bugle and pointing out, oh my gosh, is that where Peter Parker? Is that his desk right there? And, or is this over here where Peter Parker works every day? It's super cool. So Spider-Man, though, is like one of those 4D rides. And so it was the first 4D ride that I ever got on years ago where I thought, oh my gosh, this 4D stuff, you really feel like you're in the middle of the action. So he loved it. I loved it as well. I've been a fan for a while. But as far as our favorite attractions or rides at the Universal parks, I think I could list probably 3 in each of the 2 parks.
Okay, so what are they?
You want me to go there? I'll go there.
Sure, go.
I will go there. Okay, so Islands of Adventure, Spider-Man is definitely one of my favorites. Audrey loves the Jurassic Park section, and it's so funny because when she first went to Islands of Adventure with me, I took her into the Discovery. What's it called? The Discovery Center or something in the Jurassic.
Right, where you can hands-on stuff.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I remember Jurassic Park when I was growing up, right? And so I still remember distinctly her petting a baby Triceratops, right? And to this day, I'm pretty sure she thinks that she pet a baby Triceratops because it was like moving and making noises, and the caretaker was just like kind of cradling it like a baby, and her eyes were like, ugh.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I have to ask though, this time, did they go meet Blue?
No, they did not.
Okay, no, that's fine because that can get a little scary because I guess is he a velociraptor or he's a
yes.
oh yeah.
Is his name Blue? I actually don't know what his name is.
Yes, his name is Blue. I'm pretty
well,
sure. Yeah, my kids grew up with all the Jurassic Park stuff. So he just comes over your shoulder and like you're getting a picture, but then a lot of times, he will try to like eat your hair or something, and it can be a little intimidating. Well, that's for next time. Because I know
that's for next time, but not for Caleb, because we did pass Blue, since that's his name. I have met Blue before, and Caleb could hear him rustling from behind the bushes, and he was like, "Mommy, I don't want to go over there."
It may be too much for him. That's so. So let me back up here a minute. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I have to tell you though, my other favorite thing at Islands
Oh,
of
yes.
Adventure is probably, oh, man, I would have to say it is just um, the Hogwarts Castle, right? Because that's islands. I get my two Harry Potter areas confused.
Right.
Um,
So Hogsmeade and then
yes,
Diagon Alley.
Hogsmeade. Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Yes.
So the castle is just you really once you step inside the castle itself, there is just no indication that you're in Orlando, Florida at all. You are inside the castle where Harry Potter and Ron Weasley and Hermione all went to school on a daily basis. It's incredible.
Agreed. And what about the Hogwarts Express? Did you ride the
Oh my
train?
gosh, that is also my favorite.
Yes, because you do. You feel like you are really going there.
Yes, I got to tell you, Universal is so stinking smart because there is not a chance that I'm going to go to that park and not have a park to park ticket because I want to get my booty on the Hogwarts Express and take it the one way to see that experience and then the other way to see the other experience.
Yes.
So they're super smart. Yeah, but
Agreed.
it,
Agreed.
it is a full scale steam train. The station is as if you're not in Orlando anymore. It's amazing.
Oh, I know. I
So
know.
that's
It's
Islands.
it's
Yes.
incredible. So what about over at Universal Studios? What is your favorite thing to ride
Yeah.
over there for your family?
So I'm a sucker for little theme park factoids, and I learned recently that Islands of Adventure, its whole concept is that it's based upon like books, comic books, and I guess Jurassic Park. That was a book originally. Um, Dr. Seuss is over there.
Yep.
Those are books for sure, right? And so then you have Universal Park, and that concept is around movies. And so you have like the whole Hollywood, Beverly Hills looking section, which has that amazing prop shop where you can purchase like legit props from movies and attractions at Universal. Um, and that's where just roaming around, you might stumble into Beetlejuice, which I did. It's one of my favorite pictures ever. Or Scooby Doo and his whole crew and their big mystery
Yes.
machine.
They're
Yeah,
so
so
fun.
cute. So cute. So anyhow, at Universal Park, oh my gosh, some of my favorites. I love the fact that you can get a Simpsons donut. Like it's like as big as your head. The big
Huge.
pink
Yes.
donut with the sprinkles. Uh-huh. I also love that in Moe's Tavern, which straight out of the cartoon. I mean, you feel like you are in Moe's Tavern, with a red telephone where you can pick it up and listen to the message and everything. You can get a flaming Moe there, which is a tasty cocktail. I guess a lot of my Universal loves are food focused, which is not it does not shock me at all, knowing myself. Um, let's see. I love in the New York section of Universal Park that just randomly on one of my very first visits, I start to hear what sounds um, like some blues music. And so I stumble outside from whatever I was doing. I don't know. I don't remember. And sure enough, here comes down the streets of New York a police car, which I'm not kidding you, straight out of the Blues Brothers franchise. And before you know it, Jake and Elwood make their way out of the vehicle, up onto some steps, and start singing some of those iconic Blues Brothers songs. I was fangirling all over the place. I'm pretty sure I screamed. I'm pretty sure I made a fool of myself. But the Blues Brothers show, by far, my favorite part of Universal Park. I
That's
say
awesome.
again, there's the horror makeup show where they show you how they use those prosthetics and the fake blood in movies. That's super cool too. I could go on all day. I could.
No, so what are some of the changes though? Because, right now we're in that COVID-19 era.
Yeah.
Were there things that you saw that were different? Did you feel comfortable while you were there?
Yeah. So I knew going into it, I expected, I had done my research as I always do as a travel agent specializing in Universal. I always do my research, and I knew going into it that I was going to have temperature checks. I knew that I was going to have to wear a mask, and I knew that I was going in one of the hotter times of Florida. So I expected that I was going to need to take some mask breaks from time to time with that mask on. So sure enough, as I first checked into the hotel at Cabana Bay. They checked my temperature. They gave me a colored bracelet to show that I'd already been checked for that day. And so I didn't have to be checked again elsewhere because I was wearing that bracelet. Then at the parks, if you don't have that bracelet or even getting on the buses to get to the park, if you don't have that bracelet, they're going to check your temperature there as well.
And they do everybody in the family, right?
Everyone in the family, including my little guy. Yes, everyone had to wear a bracelet to show that we have been temperature checked. Um, so then, of course, when you get to the parks, there are in the queues to ride the attractions, there are the little floor stickers that show, keep yourself distance, that type thing. Let me think, what else?
I think most people are very courteous and
Yeah,
fine. They stand on their mark and they know exactly where to move. So you are physically distanced from other people. And of course you have to have a mask on. So
you have to have a mask on, yes. And I will tell you, I've noticed this at multiple theme parks, including Universal. The cast members and the employees are there as an extra layer of protection to remind you, make sure you have your masks up, keep that mask on. And they won't let you do much of anything if you don't have that mask on, with the exception being swimming or actively eating.
right. And
Yeah.
your kids, I'm assuming the kids did fine with it. They're used to it from school. And yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
think
did fine.
kids do better than we do as adults with wearing the mask in
They
some
did better
times.
than I ever expected. Better than I ever expected.
Yeah.
So, of course,
So,
before going, I wanted to make sure they had the masks that are most comfortable for them.
right.
Um, so,
Well, good. So tell me about a favorite memory. Was there something that stuck out to you from that weekend?
girl, I just told you like 6 different memories, but let
Well,
me dig back deeper.
is
I
there
would
anything else you want to tell me? Anything that happened or stuck out to you that was like, I wasn't
say,
expecting this, or this
no,
was a,
I gotta tell you, there was this one chance I had to do a VIP tour, and okay, I told you I'm a sucker for trivia, but when you first check in for the VIP tours, they give you these amazing headsets so that you can listen in to all of this incredible trivia. Now I'm talking about a group tour, right? A group VIP tour. They
okay.
have the personal ones too, where it's just you. But the group VIP tour, they gave us these headsets, and so I could hear, no matter how many loud sounds were around me, I could hear what that expert tour guide was telling us. Like, for example, little unknown facts. He was telling us at one point about how Tom Cruise was one of his VIP tour guests once, and
Wow,
yeah, I know that was super
that's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, but then I loved how he didn't take us to the express pass lane and make us wait in the express pass lane. No, he escorted our VIP booties past everybody else right up to the front of that queue and put us on the ride vehicle next. And that is an experience that most people I don't think have, but should definitely do at some point, because you really do feel like a celebrity, and it's worth every penny.
Yeah, so it
So
didn't matter whether he had Tom Cruise or he had Sarah Turner. He had a celebrity that day with him.
he did have a celebrity that day, and it took him a while for me to convince him of that. But I think by the end of the day, he was on board. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I've loved hearing about your trip, and I know you're planning on going back here soon, right?
Oh gosh, yes. I think we're probably going to go back maybe 2 or 3 more times by the end of the year. Yeah. Universal has these great like special promotions from time to time that as travel agents we're always keeping an eye out for. And so I was able to snag a really great price on some tickets, so we get to go back for the rest of the year. So I'm psyched.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure the kids are excited too. Okay, so now we're going to do some lightning round questions really quick.
Oh, okay.
Just for fun here as we end. So there's no right or wrong answer. So don't be nervous. So here we go. Who is your favorite Universal character?
Um, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this guy.
Okay. Oh,
You better know who this is. I didn't realize how much of a Minion fan I was until I bumped into Gru at Universal Park, and I about lost it.
oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
I apparently have a huge crush on Gru,
Is
but I
that
also love the Minions.
his eyes move?
He's a popcorn bucket. If you don't have a souvenir of choice already for your theme park visits, I totally recommend popcorn buckets, because these things are refillable for like $2 or $3, first of all. And then this itself was like maybe, I don't know, 15 or 20 bucks. And what an incredible souvenir.
Oh my
Popcorn.
gosh, that is darling. I
Yeah.
love it. I'm coveting it now.
Mwah, I love you.
Okay, so we kind of got this answer from you, but are you one of those people that get up early or do you sleep in? So what time do you normally get to the park?
I mean, okay, you kind of caught me there because I was trying really hard to pull off that I got up and got to the parks early. The reality is, I sent my husband with the kids to go to the park early because I like to sleep in.
Okay.
But if you want to know an interesting little tip, I will tell you something.
Yes. Okay. What is it?
Okay, so here is my theory, and it's backed up by lots of other folks as well. If you are an early riser, then um, absolutely take advantage of those early park access hours. But if you're like me and where you tend to sleep in a little bit, then it's probably best if you start your day out at the park that is not the early park access park, because you'll find that everyone who got up early flooded that early park access park, and everybody like me who didn't um, can take advantage of the other park for that day.
That's a great tip. So
Yeah.
my next real quick question was going to be if you were a ride connoisseur or a park connoisseur. I mean, I'm sorry, a food. Let me say that again. Are you a ride connoisseur, so you want to go and just ride the rides, or are you a food
Yeah.
connoisseur and you want to go eat the food? Although I'm thinking you're more the I'm resting in bed kind of person for a little while before.
Honestly, okay, I absolutely love unique food. I love those experiences where, like I mentioned, the donut in the Simpsons area, um, and uh, oh my gosh, in the comic book section of Islands of Adventure, they have, of course, a Dagwood sandwich. Like, who would I didn't realize that Dagwood sandwiches came from comic strips. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I've been told. So I love those details, but in general, it's not even about the food or the rides. For me, it's about how much can they truly take me out of Orlando, Florida, and put me into whatever that theme is. So just like I'm not even necessarily a huge Harry Potter fan. I've seen some of the movies, but not all of them. But the fact that I can step onto those cobblestone streets and hear the whistle of the train, the Hogwarts Express, and sample that incredible frozen
I
butterbeer,
was going to
I
say the
feel like in a foreign
butterbeer.
place.
Surely you had the butterbeer. Yep,
For me, it's
that's
all about the details.
yeah.
And I will give you one more tip if you have
Okay, one
time.
more.
One more tip. One more tip. Okay, so on that VIP tour I mentioned, the guide told me that everybody, as they're walking through Universal Parks, through Volcano Bay, they tend to just sort of look at what's around you. But if you take a minute, especially when you're in the Harry Potter sections, and you look up when you're inside those stores and those restaurants, you'll be amazed at what there is to see as far as elaborate decoration and theming up in the ceilings of these places. It's incredible. So
Wow.
take
So
note.
it's those details. It
Yeah,
really is those details that
yeah,
make those experiences.
it
So, oh,
is.
well, thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate you talking with us today and everybody listening. So please tune back in with us as we continue to bring you information about destinations like Universal and other places your family may want to visit. So take
Okay.
the trip with us. Hear our stories about new destinations that we're exploring. Learn tips and tricks that we have found useful and keep dreaming with us about the next destination, the next vacation, or the next adventure. So until next time, keep dreaming.
Bye.